What is up, everybody? Yet again, we are back with another episode. And no, this is not some weird ass fucking TV show where you get to sit there and fast forward through everything. No, this is fucking YouTube. So, I have no idea where I was going with that. So, my name is Bash. I am the dead guy. I am joined yet again by Quacksire Collectibles, the homie at the bottom.
Whoa.
And then we got the big, let me find my tongue, Mr. Doc Gang himself, $5 butt stuff, the Bartle Boss from bartleshop.com. And today we are talking about horror movies, and not just any horror movies. We are talking about our 5 top picks of fucking death scenes in horror movies and why we like them. But before we do all of that, we got to mention this honorable mention. It's finally here. Yay. This is the third and final Halloween movie for the new series that has been out. We got Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills that just came out this past October in 2021. In 2022, October 14th, we are getting Halloween Ends. The story is finally coming to an end. This is the poster of it. It was released a few days ago, and it says "Evil will fail." And you can see the mask is kind of burnt on one side, and then on the other side, it looks like a skull. What are you doing?
Nothing.
What do you guys think about this? About them ending this new series that they had started with the Halloween series?
I'm excited, honestly. I'm really excited to see what they do with it.
As I told you, and I know I said this on another video, but I'm not huge into Michael Myers, so I have actually not watched any of the reboots. So I think when this one comes out, I'm going to binge them all, and you could get my fresh outlook on it. I'm more into the 80s cheese, and you guys know that. So
you did what all of us did and bought the box set of Halloween and got even the Rob Zombie remakes then.
I have not seen the Rob Zombie remakes either. I think of the slashers, I will say Halloween is my least favorite. There's only one good Halloween, and that's Halloween 3. Everybody knows Season of the Witch is the only Halloween.
No.
Just like Nightmare on Elm Street 2 is the best Nightmare on Elm Street.
You are going to get so many people to hate us. just to let you know. First and foremost, there was a movie, the kid that was in Nightmare on Elm Street 2, the main actor, he did his own movie called My 20-Year Nightmare on Elm Street, where he talked about how they turned him into a giant gay joke and that.
Oh my god. It's the best movie because it's the only movie that has an extended dance scene. And I need all my slashers to have an extended dance scenes.
What is wrong with you? What is your damage, little boy? What is your damage? And secondly, I do got to point this out. Halloween 3, it took 23 years before that movie even became relevant to the fan base of Halloween. I will give it this, though. I will give it its just due. John Carpenter did have a vision for the Halloween series. And with Halloween 3, his protege was the one that was filming it. He took over and he was trying to fulfill John Carpenter's vision that he had. Like, it was supposed to be 2 movies for Michael, 2 movies about something completely different, all happening in the same night, so on and so forth, and that they were all going to relate together in one way, shape, or form. And I will say this, Michael actually appears in Halloween 3 twice. Once on the TV screen in the bar, and then the hospital scene where the android is lighting himself on fire in the car. There's a person walking down the side of the road. that is Michael heading to that hospital. So Halloween 2 and Halloween 3 are kind of happening at the same time.
Nice.
So, but Quacksire, how do you feel about Halloween Ends coming out?
I'm excited about it. I definitely did enjoy the last two that came out. So it's always good to see a franchise actually being able to finish itself out. So, I'm always happy when that happens.
Hell yeah, man. I am a huge Halloween fan. I love Michael Myers. He's my top tier fucking slasher. I got my own top 5, but that's another video for another day.
Yeah. Jason Takes Manhattan is going to go on that list. Seed of Chucky. Trying to think what else I could piss people off with. Leprechaun versus Evil Bong.
You could put Tusk on that list, and we'll piss a good portion of people off.
Ginger Dead Man versus Evil Bong. Tusk is amazing. I don't want to hear
amazing.
it. Tusk is a great movie.
I will say this. I've seen several different trailers for it, and there's the one trailer that does not make any sense. And it's the one where it does not show him as a walrus. You know which one I'm talking about?
I do.
Yeah, that's
movie.
That's the only trailer I do not go for when it came down to that movie coming out, because I got kind of pissed off about it. I was like, all the other ones show him as a fucking walrus. Where the fuck is the walrus scene in this trailer?
I wish they had done all the trailers with him not being a walrus, so that it would have been a surprise.
I do got to ask this, because somebody was telling me, I haven't been able to watch it yet, and I'm planning to. His girlfriend and his best friend are looking for him. And they told me the fucking ending where he's actually now in a fucking zoo, and his girlfriend and his best friend throw him a fucking fish, and then they went to go fuck afterwards. Is that true?
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
Really?
It's a Kevin Smith movie, bro.
Yeah. Saying Silent Bob in it and everything.
Really?
No.
I'm getting excited about a movie I haven't even seen yet.
Even though those movies are now canon in the universe thanks to Reboot.
Yes, Reboot did connect those. Anyway, I feel like we've gone off the beaten path, and in horror movies, that's how you get killed.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with us being in a horror movie and getting killed, because you know what? I'd probably be the motherfucker at the beginning of the movie to sit there and be like, hey, you guys are going camping? Not going to see you in the sequel.
I'm the fat one. I'm definitely not making it to the end. Are you kidding me?
What about you, Quacksire? Are you going to make it?
He's the final girl.
The pothead always dies too, so I'm pretty sure I'm out.
And I'm the asshole, so of course I'm gonna have like the best death scene out of everybody. So
yeah,
I'm gonna be the guy that everyone wishes to die. Be like, please just kill that motherfucker. All right, so Bartle, we're actually gonna start off with you, and we're gonna go from there.
Yes. So my number 5 pick for the best horror movie kill has to go to Rubber. It is, if you guys haven't seen the movie, essentially the movie is a horror movie about a tire that kills things with its mind. Yeah. So the movie starts off really slow with the tire just kind of wiggling, and then it like wiggles itself up and then it falls over. It's hilarious. But then it starts rolling and it rolls upon a bunny. And then it stops and it starts shaking. And the moment's very weird, and you know what's going to happen. It shakes and it shakes and it shakes, and then all of a sudden the bunny explodes. And this is the first time you see Robert the Tire's power. Yes, it has a name, and it's Robert. Or Robbie, I think, maybe in the movie. I forget. But yeah, he blows up a bunny. And then shortly after that, he runs into a car, and he blows up a driver's head as well, I believe. But yeah, very, very silly, very unexpected. And it kind of sets the whole tone for the movie, which is, yes, I'm watching a movie about a killer tire that kills things with its mind. So that's my number 5. Number 4 is a little bit more of a serious kill in a horror movie, but it comes from one of the more campy Freddy movies, which is Freddy versus Jason. It comes near the end of the movie where the main final girl's friend, Kia, I believe is her name in the movie, she decides she's done with it, and she goes and she like gets in Freddy's face and starts talking trash to Freddy, and Freddy just kind of motions his claw, and she like has this bewildered face, and she turns around and gets hit with the machete so hard that she goes flying into a tree where she bleeds out, I believe. Such a great scene, especially Freddy's face. Now, I was going to pick a different part in the movie, but I couldn't find a lot of the pictures for it. But there's another scene in the movie where Freddy is torturing somebody in the dream world, and I believe it's at a cornfield party, if I'm correct with the timing. And he's torturing this person, taking his time like he always does. And right when he draws his claw back to about to kill this person, you see the machete go through their stomach as Jason steals the kill from Freddy, which is, I think, the turning point in the movie where Freddy decides he wants to take out Jason.
After he brought Jason back and you see him do this, he puts his claws inside the fucking locker. He puts his head in and he starts screaming, no, no, no.
Yeah.
That was a good scene.
Yeah.
Good movie, too. My number 3 is Cabin in the Woods. There are so many to choose from in Cabin in the Woods, but there's a reoccurring thing where in the beginning of the movie when they're taking bets, if you pause the movie and look at the board, there is all kinds of crazy stuff on there. One of them being a merman. And then the one character, the one scientist keeps bringing up this merman and how he wants to see it. So later on in the movie, when all the monsters are released, he is lying there about to die, and he sees the merman, and he is so happy that he finally gets to see the merman. And then the merman opens up its jaws and just starts swallowing him in a very brutal scene. But merman.
That was a funny horror movie, by the way.
Very good. It's kind of like a parody on Evil Dead a little bit, which is a parody on other movies. There's a lot of different horror tropes that they mess around with, and the fact that it's a movie within a movie is interesting. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend Cabin in the Woods.
They almost had like their own version of Hellraiser in that movie too. If you remember, the dude with the giant buzzsaw in the side of his skull, and he was holding like the little orb.
And that is the thing. Like at the end of that movie, as soon as they get out of the projected what they thought they were in, so many little things happen and so at once. So like every time I see the movie, I see something different and new, and I love it. Number 2 is a movie that I hold a very special place in my heart, which is Leprechaun. So there is a scene in Leprechaun where one of his gold coins, or some of his gold coins, get taken to a pawn shop, and he rides this little tricycle to the pawn shop and breaks in, and he like talks to the pawn shop owner, and at one point he grabs a pogo stick and he pogo sticks the guy to death. Now this is a series where there are a lot of ridiculous kills. Leprechaun is known for how ridiculous it is, and I think the pogo stick is by far my favorite of those silly kills. And of course, number 1 has to go to my favorite movie. I keep this back here because it's my prized possession, but number 1 has to go to Child's Play, the original movie. But there is a scene where Chucky goes and he visits his a junkie who had turned him in. That was one of his partners, I believe. And or no, it was the guy who taught him voodoo.
Yeah, the
And
mighty Dembella.
yes, it was the guy who taught him voodoo. And he comes and he has a voodoo doll, and he slowly starts breaking the arms and the legs, and he starts stabbing the doll, and the guy just kind of like bleeds out. It's a very cool scene. And the original Chucky and the only Chucky I recognize is the one who both is a serial killer in a doll's body and is a practitioner of voodoo. So definitely had to pick that one as the best Child's Play kill because it is the real Chucky.
Which shout out to Brad Dourif, who was the voice of Chucky and is the voice of Chucky again, who now has his daughter in the series as well. She was in the last two movies, and now she's in the TV show.
And shout out to Alex Vincent as well. He played Andy in the original series, and he also is in the TV show.
Yes. So is the girl that played Kyle from the second movie. She's in it too.
They did a very good job with the fan service in this show.
Which I'm actually I'm still upset about this. So we had reached out to Alex Vincent, and he said no to an interview. So sorry guys, we can't do that. I'm still upset about it. But he was cool enough to answer.
Very down to earth. I met him at a con about 2 years ago, and he was the only guy I wanted to see at the con, and I geeked out a little bit in front of him, I will be honest.
So now we're going to lead into Quagsire.
Okay, so let me pull up my thing. So, for number 5, it's kind of more of a well-known movie to like the snuff movie seekers. It's a film called Cannibal Holocaust, and I had to give it to the Pike because by far out of any horror movie, first off, this was done in 1970s, I want to say, so it's very hard to produce this being fake in the 1970s and have it look so real and so just grotesque. That movie is actually banned in almost everywhere except for America, and the full uncut version is still banned in America at this point, as far as I know. My number 4 spot is also another darker, snuffier movie. It's called Martyrs. It's a French movie about how would you call it? It's about these group of rich elites that train people to be martyrs, or like service them to be martyrs, I should say. So they focus around their life, and they cause horrible things to happen to them. That way they can be brought up and brought to the church and become the next martyr. And this lady that's laying on this table is actually the main martyr of the movie. And when they finally bring her to this location and try to get her to transcend, they essentially skin her alive until she slowly dies. And again, it's very graphic, very ultra realistic, and very disturbing. My number 3 spot. This is a fun one. So, my number 3 spot goes to the remake of I Spit on Your Grave. Now, I would say the shotgun kill alone just makes the list because of how incredible it is. I'm not going to go into the backstory of why this is because there's a lot to it. And if you've seen I Spit on Your Grave, you probably already know. But this kill is actually directly tied to a secondary kill as well, because there's a string attached to the trigger of the shotgun that is going up somewhere. And then the other end of the string is attached to another person that's outside. And she essentially scares the person outside to cause the shotgun to go off. And as far as like revenge movies go, nothing will ever top I Spit on Your Grave. It is one of the most brutal, graphically violent horror movies out there.
Is it gone? Okay.
Spot number 2 goes to the double sleeping bag kill in Jason X. Now, I know a lot of people hate Jason X because it's kind of a really bad Jason movie. To be completely fair, it's a horrible Jason movie. But the throwback sleeping bag kill, but then doubling up with another person that's in a sleeping bag, the fan service on it is amazing, and I absolutely just lost my shit watching it, like, because I knew where that came from originally, and it was just the funniest thing to me, just watching him beat some chick to death in a sleeping bag with another chick that's in a sleeping bag. Now, my number 1 pick is potential spoilers. Not for people in here, but you guys watching, potential spoilers. It comes from the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. And first off, I'd like to say Netflix did an amazing job at this movie. Like, this movie is hands down better than any of the Texas remakes that have happened recently, by far. Now, the kill that I'm referring to, essentially Leatherface goes into a bus full of people. And that bus becomes a slaughterhouse. And it is a very glorious thing for Leatherface.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think only, 2 people make it out of like 20, 30 people in the bus. And you see everything. And I mean, you see everything in it, and it is absolutely glorious. Like, this is something that nowadays you don't really get with remake horror movies, like as far as like super gory, violent things go. This is something that people want to see happen in horror movies, but they don't get it that often. And we finally got this just absolute slaughter fest of Leatherface, and just him going 100% full animal instinct and just killing.
So I will say this because I absolutely love that movie. I really do. You guys knew I was excited as hell about it. I gotta say the best part about that scene though was when everybody on the bus. So he cuts the bus driver's head off and then throws the head back into the bus.
Yep.
And then when he finally gets on the bus, everybody pulls out their cell phone and does this. They start going live.
Yep.
The one dude's like, "Yo, you try anything and we'll cancel you, bro." And he canceled cancel culture. Hands down. Which is a great segue because, my number 5 pick is from that movie. Now, I could not find the picture, but I do have this one for Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022. I thought this movie was very good. It was very bloody. It's one of my favorites. And it actually made Leatherface more of a monster. And it gave him more of a backstory to him, especially with what happened after the first movie, because the second one didn't really make any sense. My favorite death scene from this movie was at the end of the movie. It was the final kill. Leatherface punches through the car window, grabs the sister out by her hair. The other sister climbs up the car and is looking at her sister as Leatherface has her sister on her knees in the middle of the road, takes the chainsaw and goes, cuts her head clear off. And then he does the legendary fucking chainsaw dance that he did at the end of the original 1974 Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, which then led to a scene of him then walking down the driveway of the original house. Hands down, favorite fucking death scene out of everything. Right there from that movie. Along with, of course, the slaughterhouse bus. We got to go with that as well. My number 4 is kind of weird, kind of unusual, but I'm also going to go Leprechaun on this. And I believe that this is Leprechaun 3. I'm not necessarily sure. I get kind of confused on 2 and 3, so it's this one. And I'm going to divulge on this. So Leprechaun is trying to get married in the movie. At the beginning of the movie, he goes for his slave's bloodline, and come to find out, after 1,000 years, a leprechaun has to get married. It finds a suitable marriage, a woman, and this guy ends up dying in one of the most horrific ways because the leprechaun makes him think that the girl is actually there in front of the fan and that she's taking off her shirt and her bra. And he goes over to put his face in between her tits, and the fan is on, and it ends up cutting him straight to shreds and dies. And of course, we got the legendary blood scene from that movie. Coming in at number 3, we are going to go right here with Killer Klowns from Outer Space, Officer Mooney. This is a very old movie. There is a reboot on the horizon, as we've heard. Officer Moody is being used as a ventriloquist doll, and that to me was my favorite death scene out of Killer Klowns from Outer Space, because he was the dude that you wanted to see die in the movie, and I feel like he got his just dues in that. So that was number 3. So number 2, I'm also going to go with another one that's really good. Presto, You Dead. Child's Play 3. Everybody knows this sergeant right here. He has a fascination in the movie with cutting people's hairs. And he was talking to one of the kids prior to him dying about how the Romans would shave all their hair off their body so that way their enemies would not be able to grab their hair and slit their throat. Well, he finds Chucky sitting in his cabinet, and he puts him in the chair, and he says, "You look like you need a haircut." Turns on the thing. Chucky has the straight razor in his hand and hits him with the fucking blade and says, "Presto, you dead." It was very iconic. It was a funny scene in the movie, and it was also one of my favorite death scenes for Child's Play. But rolling in at my number 1 pick, I have to go with my favorite slasher of all time, Michael Myers himself from Halloween 2. This is such an iconic scene because we have seen it remade several times in several different Halloween movies. Just like we've seen a lot of death scenes from so many different Halloween movies from the past being redone. The just sheer terror of, his sister sitting at the end of the hallway looking at the nurse as he lifts her up with one arm with the knife in her back and then drops her. You see that in Halloween H2O with her boyfriend. Ends up happening to her boyfriend right in the hallway at the college. And it is also one of the best scenes in that movie. I felt it was also one of the goriest death scene. Not goriest, but it was it left to the imagination. pretty much. And those are my 5 picks. So I am going to say this: Quacksire has officially grossed me out with his picks. And he's also made me happy with his number 1 pick too. So
What makes me laugh is our picks are very much suited to the type of horror movies we enjoy. Like,
yeah,
I like the dumb, cheesy, silly ones, and Quagsire likes the really gory ones, and Bash obviously likes slashers. So a lot of our picks very much fit our personalities.
who did you guys go as for Halloween as kids?
As a kid, it was usually whatever I can get. Nowadays, it's usually something silly. I was Ice King one year. I was Rockstar. I need to revamp and do a horror thing here soon. But now I'm a dad and I dress like my kids. So
I think like the one that I remember from when I was a kid was I went as Crypt Keeper.
it's pretty good. Pretty cool.
I'm gonna say this: when I had red hair, I actually went as Chucky. I just I bought overalls. I had Converse and I had a striped shirt. So all I did is I made my hair like crazy and I walked around with an actual kitchen knife because I work in a kitchen.
It's awesome.
But more now, I dress up as Michael Myers just because it's easier to walk around in a jumpsuit, carrying a knife and wearing his mask. And
I mean, I'm sure there was a year I was Jason just because Jason masks are just kind of the cheap thing to find.
Yeah.
I will say probably the closest thing that wasn't Jason that I've ever come to a horror costume was the one year I was Eddie from Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Has anybody tried to go as the Wolfman? I'm just wondering.
I feel like you have to get the mask because it's just too much work otherwise.
See, I got the wig when I was a kid. I actually got the wig and did the face paint and the fake teeth.
Okay.
So
I was the demonic teddy bear one year as well. But that's just because I found the mask and
well, that's also because you are a demonic teddy bear.
well,
Look at your shirt.
what's wrong with my shirt?
Where is the docking starting and ending? I feel like you cut those man's hands off.
That's the only way to do it.
Next horror movie, Doc Gang, The Final Cut.
Those are actually like photocopied on there.
So if you guys had to star in a horror movie, would you like to be the killer? And if you wanted to be the killer, who would you want to be? One of the deaths in a horror movie or the final cut girl? Explain all 3.
If I had to choose, I'd choose not to die. So yeah, I guess I would be either the killer or the final girl. And I mean, I would make a pretty hot final girl. I'm just saying. Or like, I think of the horror movies out there, the closest I would come is probably like Tucker from Dale and Tucker versus Evil or whatever it's good. Dale and Tucker. I'm spacing on the name.
I think it is Dale and Tucker versus Evil.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think that would be the closest to what I would want. Is
What about you, Quacksire?
Well, I like out of everything, I think Jason is probably the easiest way out because he doesn't really die ever. Like you can slow him down, but he doesn't really fucking die. He doesn't seem to take damage or care that he takes damage. Like it's just animal instinct and murder at that point. So you don't really have to think about it. You're just walking around fucking murder. Oh, and you get to see tits every once in a great while. So
yeah,
you know.
So if I was to do a horror movie, I would actually like to be the dude that's killing everybody. Mainly just because everybody has those in everyday life. Everybody has like that feeling when they're sitting there and they're stressed out. And they're just like, and everybody wants to act on it, and it's like you can't. But when you're in a horror movie, you can act on it, and that's the best feeling ever. So I would want to be the killer. If I had to be the guy that died, I would be the guy everybody was wishing was dead in the movie. And then when my death scene came, it would be horrific. And there'd probably be a giant cheer, be like, that asshole died finally.
Now, is there a scene in a death, like a death in a horror movie where you've seen it and you're like, no, fuck that. Never, ever. I never want to be even remotely would ever want to go out like that.
Bambi.
So, Jason X again. Actually no, there's two for me, but I don't think one actually counted as a death. Like I don't think somebody died in one of them. But like the main one for me is the liquid nitrogen in Jason X, because I'm terrified of water anyway. So drowning plus freezing to death plus getting shattered, no, fuck that. The other one for me that I'm not quite sure if somebody died, and I'm not also sure which one it was from, but in one of the Saw movies, there is you already know the bat, the big swimming pool full of hypodermic needles, and
yeah, that was Saw 2.
Yeah,
and that was the girl.
That was Amanda.
Yeah, it was Amanda. So she survived.
No, I can't.
And the fact that she gets thrown in it, and like
no,
she doesn't even get just like jump in it. She gets thrown in it and like ripped around in it because of the big muscle dude.
So there's actually two, and one of them is kind of weird because it was actually a cartoon. So they had this animated series called The Batman, and it was actually a 5-season type thing. And the way they ended it was they did a Halloween special, and it was called The Batman versus Dracula. And the scene that kind of got me in the movie was Joker. So Penguin and Joker in it, and Penguin is being hypnotized by Dracula, so he's now the new Igor. Well, Joker finds the mausoleum, and just like Penguin, it was the wrong fucking mausoleum, so the mob money wasn't in it. But Joker opens up Dracula's coffin, and it's not like a regular coffin, it's literally concrete. And he opens up the lid to it, and he looks at Dracula and he says, "Ooh, that's a pretty fresh corpse. Not bad looking." And Dracula wakes up. Joker goes to jump back, and Dracula grabs him by the collar of his shirt, pulls him into the fucking crypt, shuts the lid, and all you could hear is Joker sitting there pounding and screaming, going, "Let me out, let me out, let me out." And then he finally has a final scream. And Penguin's standing there going, freshly squeezed, and he has a look of pure stark terror on his face because he knows how bad the Joker is. And Dracula doesn't kill his victims. He turns them into vampires. So that kind of got me as a kid. The other one was the movie The Beast, which was about the giant squid that moved into a small fishing town. And I can't swim. I can't swim at all. I just, for some reason, always had a fear of water. Love taking showers. Hate going to the beach. the squid had actually latched onto the bottom of a boat and started spinning itself under the water. And it had started like some type of tsunami or underwater tornado, whatever the fuck you want to call it, to drag the boat underneath. And it was trying to get the sailor that was in the boat, because it had recognized the boat for killing its young. And I kind of thought to myself, that would suck as just a regular person. That would just suck in general. An animal that recognizes you and has pure hate for you because you killed its young. I would hate to go out that way. And it was biting through the bottom of the boat as it was trying to drag it under. So the fear of not being able to swim and drowning and something pulling you under kind of gets you.
Okay.
So now everybody can go to bed with nightmares.
So I also have two, actually. My first one is actually from the new version of, and the book and the old version of, Scary Things to Tell in the Dark. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Sorry.
Yes.
The part with the girl that gets the bump on her face. And then she's looking in the mirror, and all of a sudden a leg comes out of it, and then a whole spider comes out of it, and then her whole face just explodes with spiders. Yeah, that definitely not a great way to go. Along those lines, the security guard in the mist as well with the spiders. But then the second movie I got to bring up is a movie called Splinter. And if you've ever seen the movie Splinter, it's like a weird being that like gets into the body, and it starts just, the whole body just starts splintering, like the bones just keep coming out in all different directions of your body. It's a really nasty movie. It'll make you cringe.
I've seen it, and I know exactly what you're talking about. The one robber actually had to cut part of his arm off to stop it.
Yeah. It's a terrible way to go.
And it can only sense you. It can only sense body heat too. That's the thing. So they had to like cool their body. The husband had to literally sit in an ice chest with bags of ice over him. He had to get his body temperature down just so he can get to the police car. And they ended up having to blow up the gas station anyways.
Yeah. So I just thought of an honorable mention for a top 5, and I have to bring it out just because it just popped into my head, and it's something I love, and I should have put it on my list. But there's a Stephen King movie called Maximum Overdrive.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a scene at a ballpark with a soda machine, and the coach ends up getting hit in the crotch with a can of soda and then in the face, and then he falls over, and then it cuts to the kids, and then it cuts back, and then you see the kids are all dead from being bludgeoned by soda cans. Great fucking movie.
So do you
actually
mention?
Yeah, I have an honorable mention too, actually. Okay. Now that I think about it.
Go ahead.
Demon Knight, fucking Danny, the little kid, when he's reading the comic, and then he like pretty much kills himself and then turns into a demon. Like as soon as his jaw starts splitting open and shit, dude, like I fucking love that shit. Such good body horror.
So I have an honorable mention, and it's man, and I try to stay away from this series because I love it so much, but at the same time, it doesn't necessarily fall in with the rest of my slashers. But he's just actually he does fall into it. It would be Scream 4 with Ghostface. He runs up, he kills the one cop from behind, and then the other cop is sitting in the cop car. He's trying to get out, and he puts the knife right through his fucking forehead, into his brain, pulls it out. The cop gets out, starts swinging at him, misses both swings, and then just says, "Fuck Bruce Willis," and then falls down.
Right. Oh, I just thought of another one too for ways I wouldn't want to die. If you haven't seen the Banana Splits movie, which is a horror movie based on the old Banana Splits, but there is a part where the dog, I believe, shoves one of those oversized lollipops down this guy's mouth and down his throat, and you can see his throat like breaking and opening as he's shoving it down. And yeah, that part made me cringe a little bit.
Man,
I need to give that movie a shot.
I need to send it to both of you.
I'm so pissed off with the Blair Witch projects. Just saying.
Is there another one coming out?
Girl standing in the corner not scary enough for you?
So they did an action figure for the Blair Witch Project, and it's supposed to be what the witch is supposed to look like. But you never see what she actually looks like in the fucking movies.
I think McFarlane put out a fucking witch figure too, honestly, like way back in the day.
There is a fan theory out there that really it is the guy. It is the guy that's in the end of the movie that is plotting to kill her, and the whole thing is just a ploy to like get away with the murder.
That kind of that's dumb.
Yeah. I mean,
that
fan
makes
theories,
a shitty movie even worse, bro.
Exactly. The whole thing with the Blair Witch Project was the build up to the movie was great. Now, have you heard of any like alternate endings to horror movies? Because there's one that I think is really cool, and that is The Descent.
I've seen The Descent.
In the original cut of the movie, she just she gets out and she's driving down in the car, correct? Yeah. Well, in the original cut, before that happens, and then she wakes up and realizes she's still in the hole, and it just closes in on her, and the sound of the creatures coming near her, and that's how the movie ends. But I guess they decided that was such a bleak ending that they couldn't go with it.
See, the one alternate ending that I absolutely love more than anything isn't even a horror movie. It's just so fucking perfect. It's the alternate, aka the true ending to Breaking Bad. And essentially, if you've seen Malcolm in the Middle, it was all a dream. And the dad wakes up. And yeah, Breaking Bad never happened. Best alternate original ending ever.
So mine would have to be Room 1408 with Samuel L. Jackson. So there's two different endings to it. The first one was the writer and the skeptic actually gets out of the room unscathed. Well, not unscathed, but he gets out of the room, and him and his ex-wife end up getting back together. And they end up hearing a voice. The voice recorder had actually recorded his daughter's voice in that room when he was hallucinating her. The alternate ending, which if you end up buying the unrated edition of this movie, is he dies. Samuel L. Jackson goes to his funeral, has a box of the stuff that was recovered from the room, and the voice recorder is still intact. Well, his ex-wife and his publisher were like, look, it's too soon. So Samuel L. Jackson hops back into his car. He grabs the voice recorder. He plays it. He listens to it. And then it cuts to the little girl's voice. And Samuel L. Jackson's like, looks at it, then looks into his rear view mirror, and he sees in the back seat the guy that ended up dying in the room, half burnt, sitting in the back seat of his car, and he just jumps back and he looks, and he's not there. That to me was a great ending for an alternate scene. So that was my pick. But now that we've all scared Quacksire has officially given me wet dreams of nightmares I'm going to have for the next month.
Nice.
Yes.
So definitely watch me have a panic attack.
I didn't bring up Serbian film in this episode.
Yeah, well, now you did.
God damn it.
I'm going to be in your dreams too, but I'm going to eat your legs.
He's going to meet you at that $5 tent.
Yeah. In your dream, it's only $2.
No.
You get that homie discount, bro.
What's the homie discount these days to most people?
All I'm saying is you don't tax juggalos. That's all I'm fucking saying. You don't tax the fam.
don't tax the fam. Don't overprice something, and definitely do not sell shit that is not authenticated.
And avoid the $5 tent at the gathering. That's all I'm gonna say.
Do not avoid the $5 bush though. Or actually, no, it was a $2 bush, right? Where that girl. Never mind. I'm gonna shut up. But this is our picks, and it's always been fun. I'm Bash.
Quagsire.
The Bartle Boss.
And stay safe, stay happy, and stay the fuck away from hate. And y'all can also stay the fuck away from my pizza bites. Nah, I'm joking. We will see you guys next time. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this channel. And if you don't subscribe, what happens?
I'm gonna eat your legs. And your pizza nuggets.
God damn it.